how we finish on lower body training. Get in your racks, we're in 5-6. Get done with that fifth set, take it into the stadium. Yeah, it's gonna be a great environment. It'll be amazing what you do when the lights come on. You got your boys around you. You got that weight on your back and everything else. You won't even remember. When the sun goes down, the racks go up, the lights turn on, and the freaks come out. I'm making that right for a reason. Because every time you come on the field, you're going to be looking at that boundary. The people that stand on that boundary, they want to take what you got. And you got the ability not to let them. Squat rack doesn't define you. What you do on this football field defines you.
That 24-karat state-shaped boot represents one of college football's most underrated rivalry games. Through the years, this border war has blossomed with SEC West Division pressure. Now they stir it up again. The Hogs and the Tigers.
What is up, everybody? I'm your host, Adam. I'm here with Dave and Chris. And as we mentioned last week, this is a very special episode. We have our first guest on the pod, MHS, Arkansas football, linebacker, special teams, number 57, Nick Thomas-Smith. How are we doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Happy to be here. Happy to be the first guest. Let's kick this thing off.
It's an absolute honor to have you here with us, let me tell you.
I mean, we have our first star on the show, kicking off with a star guest. I love it. This is exciting.
Now, before we get into some of the questions, we talked about this, I think it was 2 weeks ago at this point. So this is a two-parter for you. So I want your answer. And then as an impartial third party, I want you to give what you think our answers were to this question. Knowing us for a little bit now, having a grasp of our athletic abilities, I want to hear your answer.
Okay.
And I'm the best athlete here. Let's just go ahead and preface it with that. Continue.
So it's an 100-meter dash against Usain Bolt in his prime. So 9.58 second 100-meter dash for $100,000. Every 10-meter head start you give yourself is $10,000 off your winnings. So like, let's say you're confident running 50 meters while he runs 100, you get $50,000. What distance are you running from? And it's you today, not you in your prime. So Usain's in his prime, and it's you today.
Right now. You have to go out to the track right now and race Usain Bolt.
Man. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
And if you lose, you get nothing. So, like, what's that distance that you're confident that you know you're going to win?
Yeah. I'm trying to think about that. I want to say 50. But I'm going to go with I need a 60-meter head start.
Okay.
Like, you're talking, I got to go out there right now. Like, I went on a run today, and I have to ice my knees afterwards. Like, I just spent, 48 minutes in the NBA. Like, my knees are shot. I've had surgery on one. I've been to a PT for the other one. It's a mess. So if you told me to go out there right now, like, 40 meters, I think I'm all right. All right.
Yeah.
For y'all now.
I was going to say now, two-parter, what do you think we answered?
And feel free to just throw shade my way. Feel free.
I'm going to say Adam, I'm going to say I would say that Adam probably said spot me 40 meters.
So I'm running 60?
Running 60, he's running 100.
That's exactly what I said.
Okay. Chris, I'm gonna go with I feel like he's pretty confident. I used to see Chris running around Chesterfield in high school, up and down road. So I'm going to say he said 50.
Little less confident. I said 30. I mean, it's been 7 years since then, man, or more than that, dude. And those are
10
just long
years.
jogs. I'm not sprinting. I'm a diesel truck. Right now.
Okay, and then Dave.
Oh yeah, come on, lay it on me, baby.
Dave he's naturally going to just absolutely destroy himself. So I'm going to say 80 meters. No, I'm going to say 80. I'm going to say 80. That's what I think you said.
I said that I needed to be standing next to the finish line, but
He said he'll just take $5 and walk away proud.
exactly. I'll say, but at the end of the day, I think we kind of concluded at about 20 or 15 yards, 15, 20 yards. So
That's all. Like I was gonna say you need to. I would say spot, but 80 is a lot. There's no way.
No,
that man is catching you when you only meters. Like I can't see that. So
well, and the way that we kind of broke it down too is like thought of it. It's not a perfect conversion, but broke it down like a football field, 100 meters to like 100 yards. Yeah. So me starting at the 20-yard line and him starting at the other end zone, I would hope I could get to the end zone before him, but I don't know.
I agree with that.
One video. Did you guys see that?
We're gonna.
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
No, you go ahead. I thought you were going to say we need to get it on video, and I was like, yeah, we're going to go out and film it eventually here. We were supposed to do it last week, but we are going to go out and run the distances and film it. But what were we going to say?
I just saw Abby Stein. I don't know if you guys saw this video. She used to run track at Kentucky. She was a sprinter. I guess they did something at a Kentucky football game where they gave this guy a 50-yard head start, and she came out there and caught him. Like that video was on the internet recently. She was in the U.S. Olympic trials, I believe. She might have been at the Olympics, but yeah, no, that's crazy. That's actually
such a good point, though, because the Cardinals game does that too with Mr. Freeze, right?
The Braves.
The Braves do that.
Oh, the Braves? Okay, yeah. And he catches them all the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I think people are just like. So playing baseball, like punishment runs were foul pole to foul pole. And at a high school stadium, like you underestimate how far that really is. So people start too hot. And then like you see it all the time. They're like moving too quick. Their body's not keeping up with their legs and they trip themselves.
Yeah.
Like you underestimate how far that is. My rationale with the giving me 60 meters or giving me 40 running from 60. So it was like 3 years ago at this point. I had a bet with someone that I said I could still run one lap in under a minute. And I went out and I did like 1.004. So technically I was over a minute, but basically a 1 minute 400. And my last 100 was easily like 20, 25 seconds. I was dead. So like that breaks down to like 15 seconds of 100. And that's knowing that my last one was that slow. So I even said, overconfidently, I was like, I think I might be able to do 70, but that's like a photo finish, and I better be on my A game. Like, and that's not saying I pull a hammy. I'm not fit anymore. I probably didn't stretch properly beforehand. So like, I think I can confidently win from 60, and 70 would be like a photo finish.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's correct.
I mean, I feel the thing is, if you're only 30, let's say you're 30 yards ahead of him, he is going to jump on you so quick. Like that's
the thing. Like he's going to close that gap fast.
For sure, heart racing. I'm doing the math in my head. So like if it's a 15-second 100, like that's what my 400. So we'll just say that's the average. Then that's a 750 or 730, 50.
Right.
So I have to run that last 10 meters in 2 seconds if it's 60. So 60 I think is right. And 70, like, I think it would be close, but I would lose. But I think it would be closer than I think. And honestly, it would be because what you said, like, I would hear the footsteps so much quicker than I think I should be hearing footsteps. Especially because, like, his first step then was ridiculous. Where, like, I would like to think my top speed is probably pretty consistent to when I was, like, at my most athletic, but it takes me a lot longer to get there.
Right.
So, like, he's going to gain so much ground on me so quickly, and then it's just going to – and I'm sitting here, like, oh man, I'd lose to Usain Bolt. Like it's something to be sad about. Like the man's the fastest man alive, and I'm acting like I should beat him in anything, but it is what it is.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I mean, shout out to you because I will go out. I have these like athletic dreams, like that I'm still an athlete. So I'll go out and I'll do like a 400 workout, like 400s and 200s. And the fact that you even got close to breaking a minute in the 400, now I outweigh you probably by about 50 pounds, but there's no way. Like there's no physical way. Like the back of my legs at about 250 meters shot, right? They just lock up the lactic acid. So.
It's so funny too because like it just hits you so quick now. Like I said, that when I did that, my last 100 was like every bit of like 25 seconds, and I am running as hard as I possibly can and just going nowhere. And I'm just dead.
Yeah, like until you've done that, people like watch the Olympics or track meets, and they're like, push, and I'm like, you don't know what it's like to have the back of your legs literally lock up, and then you can't even get wind anymore. People are like, push, and it's those people who die at the end of a race. I feel for them because they're literally trying as hard as they possibly can, and their body said no. Stop it.
Well, it's also crazy because like the world record mile is like right around 4 minutes. So I literally like I threw up after running 100 meters as like a 25-year-old and at a minute, and then they had to do that 3 more times at that same speed.
Yeah, no, I don't understand how it's physically possible. When they said like it was impossible to break 4 minutes in a mile or something like 50 years ago, I was like, I would have believed them 50 years ago. I'd been like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Humans can't do that. So yeah, Usain was a freak of nature. We haven't seen anything close to it. I still get up, like people will win the 100 meters and I'll be like, well, you're lucky Usain wasn't running. Like, and it's now like 10 years later and I'm still like, well, if Usain had been there.
Yep.
I can't
not even good. They're all not even good now compared to him.
I would have beat you by a second.
So you said you still have some athletic dreams, and that kind of brings up one of the questions that I wanted to ask. This is a 2-part question. So I want you to think back, and if you can remember it, because I could easily see you not being able to like really remember the moment. But walking out of the tunnel the first time at the first home game, what is that experience like? What are the emotions you're going through? And then the second part of that question is there anything you can do nowadays to like get that same level of feeling or that same like adrenaline rush at all?
That's a really, really good question. So I'll actually say, so just a little background on my football days. So I walked on the football team in February of 2013. So it was right before spring ball. I did some winter workouts with the team and, went through spring ball. I remember I barely played in spring ball, which I was like happy. I'm like, golly, what the heck am I doing out here? I'm watching practice like, yo, this is a little bigger guys. But I remember the first spring game, like we had just got a new coach, who was Brett Bielema at the time. So like the fan base was really excited because he had just come off of like 3 straight Rose Bowl appearances at Wisconsin. So we had 50,000 people at our spring game. And I just remember in 2012, I went to the spring game. And in 2013, I'm dressed out. I got my, jerseys in the locker.
On the field. Like that has to be a crazy feeling.
Man, it was wild. So I remember putting on my jersey and pads, and I'm just like, yo, this jersey has my name on it. Like, this is wild. You know what I mean? Yeah. And suiting up and running out of the A is what they call it. And at that point, we had like this hog nose that we ran out. It's a hog pin now, but back then it was a hog nose. And it's just like, bro, I felt like NCAA. Like, I remember being a senior in high school and like creating myself on NCAA Road to Glory, and I knew what I wanted to look like. I knew what type of bands and gear I was going to have. And then I walk and I'm like, we're like all huddled up in the smoke before we run out. And I'm just like, I'm having a moment thinking about, I'm like,
Right.
how the heck did I get here? Like,
Oh man,
it was just so surreal. And then just kind of off that, obviously the first game was a big deal. A couple other moments. 2014, it's a night game we're playing LSU. It's freezing cold. But this is when we had like the hog pen and the smoke is coming. I have this great video of like one of the Razorback media people behind me in the smoke. And it's just, you hear the fireworks go off and I'm just like, yo, this is so crazy.
I'm getting secondhand goosebumps right now.
I am too.
I was gonna say it's taking me back because I was at that football game.
Yes,
that's when we won the boot. We stormed the field, and like I'm getting the feelings as just a fan. So what you were experiencing was like 10 times, 20 times above what I was experiencing.
It was so crazy, man. And then the last one I can think of. So I dressed out I only played 3 seasons. So my sophomore, junior, and senior year, I dressed out for my junior year, but I didn't play. And then my senior year, I got on special teams. And the first game of the season, I was on kickoff, and we had like this thing on kickoff where we like rock back and forth before, and I'm like leading the rock, and it's piercing loud in the stadium, and I'm just like, yo, how did I get here? Like, I just remember being like, yo, like I was crying on the sideline before the kickoff because like my biggest dream in life, it wasn't like get a scholarship. I ended up getting that, but like it was like I just wanted to prove to myself that like I didn't just do this to get here and just say I was here. Like I'm good enough to be on the field, right? I've worked hard enough to be on the field,
right?
And just to like those moments specifically, man, where I'm just like, whew, chills.
So is there anything you can do nowadays to get that, like anything close to that feeling, like?
Man,
or is that just like maybe? That was it? That was the peak, and you just kind of got.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard. I don't know if anything. Maybe if I, when I have kids one day, that may get close.
Oh yeah.
Or your kids playing sports, yeah.
Yes, like if my kid has that moment, like I've seen all the work that they put in and watch it all come to fruition, like that'll be the same. It'll probably be the same feeling. Like if I whether I have a son or daughter and they're playing in a big college game or something or state championship, I'll probably get the same feelings because I know what goes into it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
high likelihood that they will as well, because athletes run in the family for you guys.
Yeah, that's fingers crossed. Hope they're a little taller than me. Like, send your genes this way, Chris. I need some height.
You're gonna be training your kids from day one. You're going to college and playing sports.
Right. I'm gonna be stretching out my infant,
holding the baby from the legs, just kind of stretching it out.
5'10" and a half, man. We'll go somewhere pro. Just might not be basketball.
5'10" and a half. You got to throw that half in there.
Because then he can round it up.
Exactly.
So you kind of said it in there. You didn't start playing or didn't walk on to the team until sophomore year. So coming out of high school, did you want to play college ball and just weren't getting really the offers that you thought you deserved? And then what was that decision after freshman year, or maybe even during freshman year, sophomore year? When was that decision that you were kind of like, you know what, I want to continue doing this? Was it you missed the game? Was it you wanted to prove it to yourself that coming out of high school, you knew you could be here and you weren't really getting the attention? What was kind of that decision process?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So in high school, I remember my head coach came to me and he was like, I know there's some like D2, D3, NAIA schools that would be interested in you if you want me to put your name out there. And I was like, respectfully, no. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I think by maybe late in my senior year, I knew I wanted to go to Arkansas.
Yep.
And I just decided, I'm like, I'll go play at Arkansas. Like, and I say that, and I know like anybody that would have, if I had told myself that back then, I'd have been like, dude, what? Like, you played Marquette football. Like, I was all confidence. I was pretty good. I think the thing that always pushed me is I was like, I knew I could run and I was strong as an ox, right? So I was like, if I can get there, I know I can hold my own. right?
Yep.
But my high school
Love
coach,
that.
my
That
high
confidence.
right. My high school coaches did. They did. I don't think they thought I had it in me, but I knew I didn't want to play small school football. Like I wanted the big, college experience, even if that meant I wasn't going to play football.
Yep.
But like in my mind, I was like, I'm going to play football, right? Like I didn't even see my college life without football, which brings me to my next point is I enrolled at Arkansas. They had tryouts. This is the John L. Smith era because Bobby Petrino had got fired that spring.
Motorcycle accident.
Motorcycle Bobby.
Yeah.
So I go try to walk on. That whole summer before I walked on, I dropped like 20 pounds. I was like 220, rock solid. I'm still trying to get back there. I'm about 10, 12 pounds away from that. But I was in phenomenal shape. I go and I kill the tryout. I remember there's this other linebacker who was there, and he was taller than me. He was a big dude. But I killed the tryout. They're like, "Hey, give us your number. We'll give you a call." They call me. They say, "Hey, you did great, but we're not going to take you." At that point, I'm lost. I'm like, "Yo, I just came here to play football, and everybody knew I was going to play football." I was devastated. But, by the grace of God, man, I had like the greatest friends. Like I met all these wonderful people outside of football, right? Because I was in a regular student dorm, and it's just like I kind of got the best of both worlds in college because I got to spend like a whole semester just being a college kid, right? With no football obligations. And I had these great people around me who kept saying like, "Nick, you're going to get there. You're going to get there." And then February, so that next semester, Brett Bielema becomes the head coach, and he has like a campus tryout, and I make it on with that staff, and I just wasn't going to take no for an answer, right? And it ended up working out, but there were some dark days. Like I said, I didn't play my first 2 seasons, and I remember getting to about the middle of my second season, and I'm down on myself, and my girlfriend and my mom, or my girlfriend at the time, and my mom are kind of like, "Why do you keep putting yourself through this?" Right? Like, you're not really getting what you want out of it. And I'm like, because I can't physically quit. Like, I could not physically say I'm done. I'm like, I came here for one thing. I'm going to get on the field. I don't care what's going to happen or what it's going to take. So kind of going into my senior year, I kind of just went back to the drawing board, right? I got in great shape again, like my best shape for college. Like I was in pretty good shape all college, but I got in really great shape. And I remember I was having a great fall camp. The guy who was in front of me on the depth chart ended up getting kicked off. So I started fall camp in the 2 deep, and I was playing great football. But there was a couple freshmen that they kept trying to give my reps to, right? Because they were big and long. They were six. They were I think they were like, one was like 6'4", 250. The other one was like 6'5", 260. Right? They were dumb as a box of rocks. And they were,
But just big dudes, generally big dudes.
And they were like, well, they're on scholarship. Like, we need to give them, a shot and see if they can figure it out. So I remember I'm having like a great practice, and they pull me, and I'm pissed. I might have launched my helmet, which I'm like, I'm a walk on, but I'm like, I'm going now. I'm like, I'm a senior. I don't give a damn. Like, this is bull, right? Like, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm wrecking the shop at practice. And I remember, not to make this all emotional, but I went to my strength coach because we were really close. And I was like, dude, I've done everything they possibly asked me to do.
Yep.
And like, I felt there was the first time in my life where I was like, does hard work really pay off? Because I've been working so hard, and I'm not seeing any of the benefits or the, whatever, the success that comes with working hard. And then that first week depth chart came out, and I was starting on kickoff.
Let's go.
Oh, man. That's awesome.
Man, it was crazy. And that's what that first moment in that game, 2015. And I hadn't played in an actual organized football game I played an all-star game my senior year of high school, which was December 2011. I didn't play in another organized game until September of 2015.
Wow.
Wow.
That was the gap before I stepped in the lines and there was a ref who cared about the outcome of the game. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
That's
man.
crazy.
That's amazing.
That's crazy.
So,
I love that.
so I have a question, and you've brought him up a couple times now, but Brett Bielema obviously was the coach and kind of has a reputation that I remember from back then of being kind of a crazy dude or say some crazy things. He had come off some success at Wisconsin, 3-time Big Ten champions, comes into Arkansas. Everyone was hyped about it. So do you have any like crazy, obviously he's the guy that put you on the starting depth chart for kickoffs, but do you have any crazy Brett Bielema stories or anything that he did that you can remember that was memorable?
Yeah, that's a good question. The thing that I remember most about Coach B, and we got close my senior year, but the thing that I remember the most is like Coach B had a ton of bravado, right? He's like 6'5", 340 pounds. He might weigh more than that now. He's a big dude.
He's a big dude. Yeah, he's in Illinois now. Big guy.
Yeah, a lot of bravado, a lot of ego. He had, his wife is like 5'2", 120 pounds, so he's got the trophy.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So I don't know if I remember one time, okay, this is funny. It was one time before the Texas Bowl in 2014. We played Houston in the Texas Bowl, beat the snot out of Texas. Just, I'm going to throw that in there.
Yeah, there you go.
But there was this guy on our team, South Florida guy. I guess I want to say he tweeted something to like a Texas player before the bowl, and he said something, and Coach B like pulled up the tweet or something and was like, you got more likes on your photo than you do yards this season. Some type of joke that a Texas player made back at this receiver.
Okay.
And Coach B was like, he got you for me. Like, I don't know what. This isn't like a meeting. Like, this is why you don't put stupid stuff on social media, because look, now you look ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not even defending his player, you got
you.
Like, you got roasted. Like, why would you? Like, he would be the type that would say, like, you of all people, why would you talk about that? Like,
Yeah.
what do you do? Like, what type of production do you have? Like, that was Coach B.
That's awesome.
But like another time, I got in trouble, but they were like trying to clean up everybody's Twitter accounts, right?
Okay.
I was wild on Twitter in 2012 and 2013. That's probably why my linebacker coach didn't play me for 2 years, because he was mad at my Twitter account. Because I just would say wild stuff, and I didn't learn until like a year and a half in that he was on my Twitter, and I'm like, well, dang, coach, you could have said something. So I remember one time, one of my teammates, you remember Ask FM, where you like ask an anonymous question, and so one of my teammates, who's now in the NFL, I'm not going to say his name, but he like went into my Ask FM and was like, "Why are you gay?" And I'm like, and I responded, "Ask your mom." So the Ask Your Mom part was like on Twitter. And so, like, coach, like in a team meeting, they like pull up all the tweets that they find like concerned with, and Coach B is like, "Yo, Nick Thomas Smith, what is this?" And I'm like, and I'm just gonna say it was Jonathan Williams, right? It was Jonathan Williams who did it, and he's cracking up.
Jay Will.
Over here getting called out in the meeting, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that was me who put that." I'm like, dude, what? Why would you? Like, I get in trouble because of something you see. So, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Why are you gay? Who says I'm gay?
Yeah.
Have you seen that video?
Yes. what you're talking about.
Who
Hysterical.
says I'm gay?
That's
So
awesome.
Because you
Yeah.
mentioned his
Well, he was a
name,
good-
Jonathan
he was a
Williams.
good dude. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, because you mentioned his name, Jonathan Williams, that kind of leads me into another question I had. Who is that first player that you played with that you were like, oh, he's different? Because you played with a couple guys that are in the NFL right now, a couple guys that have made noise in the NFL.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry's a very solid tight end. Dietrich
Right.
Wise has won a Super Bowl. You've played with some guys. So what was kind of that moment, and who was that guy that you were like, oh, this isn't St. Louis, Marquette High School, West County football anymore. I'm in the SEC.
Yeah. I remember, so like I said, I walked on in like the spring or like the winter kind of. Hunter
Yep.
Henry got to campus that summer.
Yep.
And I remember me being, for some reason, I had a lot of ego and bravado too. Like, I'm the 5'10", 225-pound linebacker, and I'm like, oh, these new guys, I'll crush them. Like, I don't know where that came from. I wasn't even that confident in high school. I don't know. I don't know how to race a guy. But I remember Hunter Henry. I remember the first time we were doing 7-on-7 after summer workouts. I want to say he runs, I'm playing middle linebacker. I want to say he just runs like a vertical route up the seam,
Yep.
right? And I'm running with him. He's a big guy.
Yep.
He's probably like 6'5". I see him turn his head for the ball, and I'm like, not finna catch it on me. Like, first of all, you just got here, right? Like, you're not gonna catch them. You just got here. And I go up, and I feel like I'm thinking I'm knocked the ball out the way, or at least I've made enough contact, where he's not going to get it. I turn around, we're on the ground. He gets up and he's running like 10 yards with the ball, and I'm like, "Yo, what the? How did you catch that?" And there was like the same way. Another situation with Hunter Henry is I'm guarding him at practice, and he runs like a really deep over route, like from one sideline to the other sideline.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I'm on his inside hip. I see him locate the ball. I'm like, okay, it's coming. He's got his hands like this. I smack down the inside hand. He caught it with the other one.
Ooh.
That's like, at that point, I was like, all right, man. Like, yeah. Okay. Like,
This guy might be okay. This guy might be good.
I don't know.
Coach, can we
what
get
to
me on
do.
someone else? Jesus.
Man, I'm like, he's got like 7 inches on me. Like,
Yeah.
this is because he wasn't the fastest. He didn't jump the highest. He wasn't the strongest.
But
But
dude
boy,
caught everything.
Caught everything. He always came up with the ball. So
Yep.
I would say him. Obviously, I played with Kiero Small too, who was just a bruising. He was shorter than me.
Yep.
245. I was on scout team defense his senior year. So inside run, just all run plays, 9-on-7. He was the fullback. I'm the Mike backer, or I was the Will, or whatever it was. And I would just know when ISO was coming. And that just meant Kiero coming downhill with bad intentions.
Yep.
And every day I had to just go heads up. And he would get
Just
mad
wear
at me because I try to deliver it. I tried to give it to him. I'm like, you're not about to punk me. And one time, I guess he got mad at me. We run ISO. He cuts me in the A gap on a block. He just takes my legs out right at the line of scrimmage. And I'm just like, dude, what? And
Why?
he's just like, why would you take we're at practice. But that's what he got to do. He was a 5'8", 240-pound fullback that got drafted in like the 6th round. That's how good he was at fullback.
You know he has to be special if he's getting drafted fullback and he's 5'8". Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Kiero
So
was a tank.
he was a tank. There's so many guys. Alex Collins was a freak of nature from day one. Rest in peace to him. I still can't believe that. Dietrich Wise, a funny story about him is, he's defensive end for the New England Patriots, a captain now. So I know I'm getting old. My teammates are captains on pro teams now. I remember Dietrich when he was 6'5", 6'6", 240 pounds, and we used to work out together. Because you guys know, like, I knew how to work out going into college. So I was stronger than a lot of my class,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But Dietrich, his physical ceiling just a little bit higher than mine. So we're lifting together, and then I remember the day where I feel like he wanted to put on another sewer plate or a 45, and I was like, Dietrich, you might have to go work out with the other D linemen now. Like, I think it's time.
It's time you graduate a little bit.
We've grown out of me.
I'm happy to have been there with you as you were trying to unlock your strength, but I think you've surpassed me, big dog, and he's doing great now.
That's a perfect segue into my next question. I'm so glad that you mentioned earlier that, you know, when you were kind of going through it, you went and talked to your strength and conditioning coach, because I believe wholeheartedly that the strength and conditioning coach are the unsung heroes. Like, they should get so much more attention. They always have that kind of crazy energy.
Yes.
They're always just pushing you. So before the last time we hung out, I was legitimately just watching Max College Day videos before I went to the gym, because they get me so hyped up to go to the gym. And then I stumbled across you guys bringing the racks out onto center field at night. The most electric video I've ever seen. But, I mean, what is it like in that weight room? I mean, is it like, especially with the people that are like in that above tier, you know, like you just said, like you graduated, you got to go up. What is it like to just watch those guys squatting just absurd amount of weight, and just like the energy there's got to be wild, dude?
Man, it was crazy. And I can think of like, you know, a lot of just probably physical feats that I saw guys do. But I would say like, it was crazy to see guys my age who were so much stronger than me. So I can think of a time there was a guy named Darius Philon. He played in the NFL. As like a second semester of his freshman year, he had 315 on the incline. And I'm just like, this is so different, right? Like, how, like, and he was like 6'1", 270 with like no body fat, right? Like, he just looked like a tank.
Pure muscle.
It was just crazy. You know, the energy is incredible, right? And with my strength coach, a lot of it was we lifted for strength, right? We didn't have many reps of 5, 8, 10. It was 1s, 2s, 3s.
Max output, yeah.
Max output. So, yeah, man, some of the best time of my life was working out, and my strength coach was a big part of that.
I guess real quick follow-up question to that last one. Somehow we'll cut this together, but like you said, you went to your strength and conditioning coach. I just feel like what's so great about them is like they are the people that are, you know, you're there, you're seeing them almost every day. They're the ones that are pushing you your hardest. And I feel like that really does form a bond with all of the athletes. And just the fact that you felt comfortable to go and talk to them like that, like what impact did your strength and conditioning coach have on you throughout your tenure at Arkansas? And you know, what should people be looking for when they go to a program in their strength and conditioning coach?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. So I think, and I don't know this for sure, but when I walked on at Arkansas, like I said, I didn't walk on and I played a bunch of football and, you know, immediately, right? It was, they put me in winter lifts, they put me in winter workouts. I just joined the team, and they were kind of, you know, evaluating me over time, because I saw other walk-ons who had walked on with me get cut. So like, it would be crazy coming to the locker room, like praying that your stuff was still there. You know what I mean? It was like NFL cut days. Wild. So, but like I said, I came in pretty developed in terms of like strength and conditioning, like,
and the knowledge of working out and stuff.
Yeah, I knew so much more about working out than the average kid in 2012. Nowadays, these kids are, you know, they've been working out since they were 10.
For sure.
Know? And
so different.
I was, you know, I knew how to do agility drills. Like, I was coordinated. I knew how to use my body in space. I was strong. Like, I had all of these things that a lot of walk-ons didn't have. And I always think that the reason I even stayed on the team or made it through kind of that evaluation period is because I think my strength coach saw how developed I was, right? He saw my work ethic. He was like, I don't know if this guy's ever going to play, but he's good for the locker room, right? He's good
I
for
love
what
that.
we bring to what we need in the weight room and things of that nature. So, you know, and his name is Ben Herbert. He's a strength coach at Michigan. If you go watch Michigan play football, you know exactly what brand of football they play.
Yep.
You go look at their offensive line. I mean, they're
College football playoff team right now, for sure.
I mean, they're all chiseled. They all look like Mr. Incredible. You know what I mean? Like, you know, he was big on nutrition. A lot of what I know about nutrition I got from him.
Love
You
that.
know, he was so intense. Everybody says he looks like Bane because he had the bald head. He's
Yeah.
I mean, if you go type in Ben Herbert on Google and just look at a picture of him, you will be like, you can feel the intensity. And I miss it. I miss the intensity that he brought to the room. It'd be 6 a.m. and he'd look you square in the eyes just to like see like, where are you at today? And you better break eye contact or he will take note of that and be like, he's not locked in.
Are you ready to work? Are you ready to work? It's 6 a.m. Are you ready to work?
That's how
Are you ready to work?
Like this. He had this quiet, just wasn't a yeller. Wasn't like yelling like get on you. He yelled to get things going, but you know, it was very interesting. I never thought that was the relationship I was going to have with him, where I would feel like comfortable saying, "Yo, you see me 99% of the time, right? You see the work I do. You see my numbers. I jump out the gym. I run fast. I push the sled fast. I do all these things. I feel like nobody else is seeing it." And he was just he had this intensity, but he had this way to connect with you as well. And I think that's what strength coaches need, because like you said, strength coach is going to ask you to come in at 5 a.m. and run you to death and then be like getting a squat rack, right? So you need a connection with them so that so that your players believe, like, I'm not doing this to hurt you, right?
Yeah, right.
Like, we didn't get our workouts were not punishment. They were difficult, but they weren't punishment. Now, we did have punishment workouts. I don't want to get into that. But he was a good guy, really good guy. I mean, you can see what Michigan's doing. They're in the college football playoff, you know, every year. They're a physical team. You know, I feel like they've kind of taken the same identity as what Georgia is. Like, we're going to line up with tight ends, and we're going to put our offensive line versus your defensive line and vice versa, and we feel like we can maul you in the trenches because we're bigger and badder. And that was his mindset. He was like 6'4", 270, just intense, man. And I miss that part of it. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. So, all right. So I have like one last question. I think Chris has maybe one more after me, but my last question, you mentioned Georgia just now. You mentioned LSU earlier. Hardest, or I would say not necessarily hardest, but best atmosphere you played in as an away game. So most likely SEC game, because I look back at your schedule. So the SEC games, non-conference schedules weren't great then, but the SEC atmosphere, who packed the best atmosphere, you would say, on a road game?
Man, so I went to Bama. I think I traveled like 3 games that year, and I was upset because I didn't travel for the LSU game, and I was like, I'm still upset about that to this day because we won that day. Adam remembers 2015, Alex Collins breaking through the line. But I played at Bama, right? There was like 3 or 4 weeks I didn't play early in that season. I played the first game, then played 3 or 4 weeks, and then I'm kind of down on myself. And the Alabama game comes up, and Brett Bielema was the punt return coach. He's like, Nick, I got you on punt return. And I'm like, okay, I'm probably 3rd string or whatever. I'm never going to be out there. Then we get to practice, and he's like, Nick Thomas, get out here. And I'm like, what? Like,
are you talking to me?
So I go out there at practice, and I'm thinking, and he's like, yeah, we're going to put in this, like, I think we had like a punt, some like special punt return set up. And, you know, I'm getting off on a tangent, but I remember he's like, I want you lined up against Reggie Ragland, right? And at this point, it was like number 19. But I knew who it was because he was like my favorite player at the time. I'm like, I know who he is. It's like, y'all got similar builds. This is a good matchup. Now, Reggie Ragland is 6'1", 250. and he was as fast as I was, if not faster. So I'm like, I don't know what type of matchup you think this is, you know? And then
you got to take that as a compliment, though. You know, similar 6'1", 250 guy.
Yeah, I'm telling the story. Derrick Henry, Heisman Trophy winner that year, is standing next to him on punt. So I'm lined up in the game. Fast forward to the game day. We're at Alabama. I'm in shock that I'm in Tuscaloosa, right? I remember pregame. I'm walking around. I just remember the grass. It was like the best grass I had ever walked on. I was like, it felt like plush carpet. I was like, what is this grass? I'm so mad at myself, too, because I was over there trying to be like, you know, look like a tough guy. And I'm like, I'm not. This isn't my first time here. Yes, it is. I should have got my phone out and videotaped everything, but I was living in the moment, and I didn't. And I didn't tell my mom to come to the game. So that's a whole other thing. But that environment was crazy. I've never seen a crowd say boom on a big hit in the game. It's like they were so in tune with the game that Reuben Foster, linebacker for Bama, blasted.
Oh, man, yeah.
And the whole stadium goes boom. And I'm like, what in the world? Where am I right now? It was so loud in there. It was a night game. You know, again, they had the Heisman Trophy winner at running back. We had him up for most of the game, but when I tell you that defense, I watched Reggie Ragland take our starting left tackle and put him in our quarterback's lap, and I was like, so you want me to do what with him on? Like what? But that was my favorite environment. Obviously, LSU is probably a great environment. Probably wasn't maybe for that game because we kind of blew them out that year.
Yeah.
But being at Bama, it's like a dream come true. It's not even something you dream up because you don't ever like think like I'm gonna play in Tuscaloosa in the house that Bear Bryant built and then Saban renovated. You know what I mean?
It's one of those things like when you were a kid and you're in the backyard, you're like, it's Game 7 of the World Series.
Yeah,
it's a full 2 count, a full count.
Yeah.
And then like you said, it's like it's something you made up or what you were doing as a kid. Yeah. Then you're finally there, and you're like, it's more than I thought it was.
I had so many of those moments. Like I said, that game, I think I had 4 snaps on punt return. I probably got a 0 out of 4 grade because I was there just as like, I can't believe I'm here right now.
This is awesome.
This is so great. Like it was another.
Just happy to be here.
Yeah, another great game though was when Johnny Manziel came to Arkansas.
Yep.
That was madness.
I bet.
It was a crazy environment.
That's the only game that I camped out for in college. Like we got in line super early. We got crazy seats, and that kind of leads me in. I do have one more question. I thought I was done, but it's in tune with the question I asked earlier. But like the best guy you watched on another team, because I remember that game like. Johnny Manziel would take snaps. Like, we would get pressure on him immediately. He would basically just, like, run in circles. Derek Jeter throw it 40 yards, and Mike Evans just came out of nowhere and brought down everything. Like, I think Mike Evans had, like, 10 catches, 200 yards. Like, dude caught everything in sight. So, is one one of them kind of that craziest person you watched play as a more defensive-minded player? Like you said, Reggie Ragland was your favorite player. So, who was that player for you that you were like, wow, I'm against him, and he's even better than I thought he was?
Well, and the names you've dropped already. I mean, you said Derrick Henry. Like,
Hunter Henry, crazy already. Star-studded cast.
Yeah, Manziel was crazy. With Manziel, it was like, it didn't make sense. It was like Houdini, right? It was like, he would just run around, throw it up, and then Mike Evans can end up being like 12 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons in the NFL, so it makes sense now. But it's like, dude, like, how does he come down with it every time? Manziel was crazy.
Manziel was crazy because he was, like, my size. Like, he's not a big dude. It's like, why can we not tackle this guy?
No, it was ridiculous. I'm trying to think. Because I'm trying to think about, like, who really had a great game against us. I will say we played Mahomes my senior year. Texas Tech came to Fayetteville.
Oh my gosh! Another drop. Another future Hall of Famer drop.
Punt the entire game.
But before I get to Mahomes, before I tell that story, it was Dak in 2015 as well,
Yep.
right? Like he threw for him and Brandon Allen. It was like 500 yards each, right?
Yep.
Like 6
The
touchdowns.
whole NFL. I mean, no wonder you didn't make the NFL, man.
That's all right. I didn't have any spots left. That's what it was. They ran out of spots. But yeah, Dak went crazy on us. We just couldn't figure anything out. But yeah, that earlier that year, Mahomes came to town. We didn't know who Mahomes was. Like he was not a name. It was. I think he might have been a redshirt freshman or redshirt sophomore.
Yep.
We see this. I remember in warm-ups, see this light-skinned dude with an armband on. I'm like, we just crushed Tech the year before, like 41-21 or something crazy. We ran for like 450 yards. We're like, line it up. We'll just run it right at you. You won't stop it.
Yeah.
But then we get to the first drive. Mahomes drives it down the field. And then at one point, he ran over our starting corner. And we were like, okay, let's lock in a little bit. We're losing now. And then when I tell you, I think they won by 11. But when I tell you we were never in the game against Mahomes, not at one point did we think that, okay, we got to figure it out. He made every throw. I want to say he went like 23-27 for like 3 touchdowns and probably like 250 yards. Like he didn't do it. It wasn't like he launched it. It was just like pinpoint accurate everywhere. And you're just like, who is this? We don't even know who this is.
Yeah.
Ford, 2-time Super Bowl champion, $450 million contract that just got it. They just threw some more money on top of that. So
and teammates with Taylor Swift's boyfriend. So.
Yes, like what? He's got connections with Swift. Like that's wild, man. Like that's really his biggest accomplishment is that he knows Taylor Swift.
That one was crazy because, like you said, like you guys didn't know who he was, and it was like 3 years out of college once he like starts making a name for himself in the NFL. I was like, I think we played him, and then I like look back at the stats, and it's like every single one of their drives that game either ended in points or a turnover. Like they didn't punt once the entire game.
Yeah, it was crazy. He was definitely one of the ones that sticks out. Him, Dak, Manziel. Like I said, we kind of shut down Derrick Henry. We shut down Leonard Fournette in 2014 and 2015, so that was fun.
Wow. There's another name.
I mean, SEC football, you could any team you played against, you could point at a guy and be like, all right, he was drafted in the second round. He was a top 10 pick. They were all over the place.
13, I just feel like, there was a lot of guys who I had a lot of teammates I'm like who either played some years or are still there.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely had some cool experiences.
If you want to reach out to any of them and get them on the pod, that'd be great. Anyone you mentioned,
any of them.
Awesome.
I don't know.
But I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. First of all, this isn't really a question, and I had to do a little bit of research before the interview. I just happened to stumble across. I don't know if this is all of your career stats, but I did just see that you just broke 100 for the first time playing golf with back-to-back birdies. Is that correct?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Back-to-back birdies also.
Congratulations.
How
was that? Have you been playing?
I was going crazy on the back nine. I
love that. So back-to-back birdies, were those 2 long putts you made, or you hit some greens, or what happened there?
You know what? I believe I was kind of putting out of my mind that whole day, which is why I probably played well. But I was chipping well, which was which was helping me a lot. I was staying within the fairway, which was usually my biggest thing. I kind of like chipping, I chip in the bedroom all the time. So I get out there and I'm like, okay, just do the same thing you always do. But I think it wasn't losing balls out of the tee box. That's always a plus. But the approach shots, I was always in striking distance, which I hadn't. I'd probably lose a stroke on the approach shot, maybe 200 out, right? But now I was putting that 200 out, maybe about 50 yards, 50 feet from the pin, maybe, and it would allow for me to, chip it up there. And this thing I read online about putting that has just like kind of changed my whole mindset on putting. It was like, instead of shooting for the hole, shoot for a point before the hole. And ever since I started doing that, my confidence with my putting has, because I see it work. So I get to the green and I'm like, okay, keep it close, Nick. Right. That allows me to keep it close.
Don't blast it by.
Don't blast it by, instead of, a lot of 2 putts. But yeah, I was chipping really well, not losing not a lot of stroke penalties that day. I still don't pull the driver out the bag. And I feel like my people I play with get mad because they outdrive me by like 10 yards, and I swing my 4-iron or my 5-iron, so they don't like.
I love that.
Like, pull your driver out.
Humble brag.
But hey, man, you shot a 92 that day, right? 92, which is
92.
And I was looking at the rest of your
Very
rounds,
good score.
To go from like a 102 average to a 92, that's an electric day, dude. So congratulations on that accomplishment.
Well, I'm so happy I brought that up. Yes, I pretty much told the world that day. I called my mom like immediately. My mom is very invested in my golf game because she's like, please do something you can't get hurt in. Because I also play flag football with some friends, and she's just like, why? You're old. Go do something. Go do something you can't injure yourself.
You're old.
So she's fully invested in my golf game. But yeah, that was a good day. It was so funny is I didn't talk about it. Like nobody even knew how well I was playing.
Yep.
Because I got to that last hole and they're like, dude, why are you so quiet? I'm like, don't say nothing.
Don't talk to me.
Don't talk to me right now. Because I think I was at like 88 on like 17. And I think I might have bogeyed the last hole or something. No, yeah, maybe I bogeyed the last hole, which would have been a 4. It was a par 3, and I was sitting there like, I put the score into my like watch, and that thing popped up and said 92, and I was like, and I left some strokes out there, like not like, oh okay, it was more like, I remember one putt I had it like rim out one time, and I had like a chip where I just like mishit it, and I was just trying to get it on the green, and it wasn't even that far, and it was like, dude, you probably lost a stroke there. So I'm like, I'm excited. It's Texas, so I can play it for like a couple more months.
I love it, dude.
Watching.
I added you on the app. I'm gonna be watching your scores.
I see it come up on there.
We're all big golf guys. Obviously, we do a yearly golf trip, but I love growing the game, and I love seeing people get better. So, congratulations, man! That's awesome to see, and hopefully, you break 90 this year.
Yeah, man, awesome. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I talked to Caleb Bobo a lot about it.
Also trying to break 100, I think still. I don't know if Caleb has managed that feat.
Infamous for finishing the round and saying he's going to sell his clubs. So,
but actually shout out to him because he sold me his irons, and I basically get when he gets new clubs, I just buy his old clubs. Yeah, I need to buy some wedges because my wedges are like my stepdad's wedges from like 2001. So maybe I'll get better if I have like wedges that aren't
grooves on there. You'll start putting some backspin on it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I saw a coach this past summer at Golf Tech, and that was big. I think just for my confidence, he made some slight changes. But yeah, man, I love it.
I love that.
I feel like I'm kind of like growing into like, how do I want to play the game? Like now that I have some like real coaching on my swing, now it's like, how do I make it feel like Nick, right? Yep. And not like the person you see on YouTube. Like I'm out of my YouTube training video era. Like
hell
now,
yeah, dude, that's big. That's the biggest step you can take in golf is get out of the YouTube and then into just playing your own swing.
Yep. And I think that I didn't play for like a month. I didn't pick up my clubs for a month before I shot the 92. I just went out there.
That's what it takes because then you go in with like a little clear head. You're like, I'm not thinking about all that stuff that I've been trying to think about.
A hard reset.
That's where I'm at right now. Since our tournament, I had to step away from the game. Got to get back there mentally. That's where we're at right now. We're about a week away from picking up a club. We'll see what happens. But you said my favorite thing in there, like when you you broke 100 for the first time, and you're like, you know what? I left a couple strokes out there. Like I broke 90 once in my life, and like that round, I was like, oh, I easily could have broke 80 if I would have just done this. If I would have done this, like
broke 80.
You start rationalizing everything. You're like, oh, if I just would have put that on the right side of the fairway instead of the left, I would have faded it in nicely.
Yeah.
Then you think you're just like this amazing golfer all of a sudden.
If I didn't show up today, I could have shot par.
Yeah.
So
now what's going to be most frustrating for you is golf is the only thing that I feel like this. Like I said, I've broken 90 once in my life, but because I know I have that in me, I get mad when I don't do it. Like I've only done it once, but now I think that's my new normal.
Right.
So when I don't do it, I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why do I suck? I know I can do this.
Especially because you have that athlete mentality in you, and I know that never goes away. So like every time it's like, gotta get better, gotta get better.
Yeah, that's how and I'm excited. I'll probably go back to a coach like this winter to like really kind of hone in my driver.
Yep.
Because like as confident as I am about, like 120 and in, it's like, dude, the closer I can get to 120 earlier in the hole, I'm like, man, you let me get a pitching wedge or a sand wedge out, and I'm pretty confident about where I can place it. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's what I love about golf, that you can like really always get better. Like when I was younger, football and basketball and baseball, they kind of came easy. It didn't get hard till really like college. It was when football got difficult. But like golf is very difficult, and like Chris said, the athlete in me is like, I like having something where I'm like, you're not the best at this, and you'll probably never be the best, but you're damn sure I'm going to try. I got time.
That's awesome.
Even if I never get there.
I love
that.
Right,
I want to say one last thing, and then Adam set us up for wavelength, but it's clear. I can just say this. Adam knows that I'm all for hyping up the boys. But I can say it's clear, and I'm not even getting your picture in 1080p right now, but I can say it's clear that you're staying in shape just from your shoulders right now, man. So keep working out, man. Keep staying in shape. Keep working on the golf game. I love it.
Yep.
Dude, I don't know why you don't tell me that every time we get on here. Look at my shoulders. Come on now.
Dave, I love your shoulders, by the way.
Dave, the cut would go crazy. I've been saying it. The cut would go crazy right now.
You're right.
Dave, we're still on Project Ronnie from Jersey Shore. We'll get you there.
Exactly. I'll get there.
All right. We're going to bring it home with a fan favorite here. So if you haven't listened, I'll explain the game.
And you need to break it down for Nick so he knows what's going on.
Yep. So Chris will be asking us questions. It's 1 through 40. So Chris will ask us a question, and we have to give him an answer to that question on a scale of 1 to 40. So like one of the questions I asked a couple weeks ago, I was like, celebrities that my fiance would not let me go to dinner with. And like, obviously
40 would be like somebody who is like,
40 is like Margot Robbie, never going to happen.
Yeah.
She wouldn't allow it. Where 1 would be like Rosie O'Donnell. Like she wouldn't care if I go to dinner with Rosie O'Donnell. So We're going to do random number. We started at 1 through 10. Every time we get it right, we've been moving up 10. So we're up to 1 through 40. Chris will be asking the questions. Chris, go ahead and look away.
Yep.
He's already looking away. So
don't say the number.
Can you?
I can't see the number. No.
Okay,
there we go. Yep.
I'm not.
Got it.
I need to keep the number to myself.
Yeah, don't say anything.
So
and we'll go first so you get an idea of like.
Yeah, y'all go ahead.
Chris, you're good.
All right.
And remember, 40 is good, 1 is bad. We have messed that up.
1 is bad, 40 is good.
Good.
Yes.
All right.
The first category is going to be alcoholic beverages.
So, like, just like any cocktail?
Any cocktail, any beer, anything.
Oh, God. Okay. This is very based on personal preference.
I'm going to go with a vodka cranberry.
Vod cran.
I was going to go with a Jaeger bomb.
Okay.
All right, Nick.
I'm picking my drink, my cocktail of choice.
Picking a drink, yes. that you think correlates with the number.
That represents that number.
Oh, that represents and one is bad, 40 is good. Like a 12 on a 1 to 40 scale.
We're gonna have to.
I'm sorry. Just totally.
Is it 12?
Chris, you feeling good about it?
Lock it in. All right.
Restart.
Restart. New number.
Cut it.
New number.
The correct premise, though, and honestly, my guess was just going to be 14 off of just right away there. So we're good.
Okay, I'm so
Okay.
All right, new number. Why I said that.
New number. Chris, look away.
We're gonna get it though. I feel
Okay.
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 Got it.
All right, Chris.
All right, Chris.
Okay. New category. Disney movies.
Ooh. Okay. I'll go with. I think I'm going to go with Cars.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Toy Story 2.
Good answer.
I'm gonna go with The Incredibles.
Ooh. Good answer.
Okay. Current wide receivers in the NFL.
Okay. Interesting.
I like that though.
I do like that too. If you have one, you can get Nick. If you got one, say it.
AJ Brown.
Very good answer.
I'm gonna go with Deebo Samuel.
That was who I was going to say. I'll go with Terry McLaurin.
Ooh,
Okay.
those are really good. Those are good. Hey, y'all are good at this, man. I know football, so like, okay.
Okay. Shoot, I did not prepare questions. All right. Let's go. Shoot.
You can stick on this football train, or you can
No,
just bring
because
back
I do
the
think
question we've asked the
that's a
previous
little
week.
bit cheating, but I'm gonna
Okay.
go.
You can go with alcoholic beverages because.
Yeah. Let's do it again. We'll do alcoholic beverages again. I like that.
Okay.
All right.
I'm personally gonna go with a Frosty draft beer.
Okay.
I'm gonna. Go ahead.
Oh, Nick, go. No, Nick, you go. You were ready.
Okay. I'm gonna go with a homemade margarita.
And I think I'm going to go with a classic whiskey and Coke.
Okay. I might do two more, but we're gonna do this one at least. Favorite, and Dave, you're just gonna have to kind of guess here.
Okay.
I gotta throw a little bit of shade here.
Okay.
Favorite lift at the gym. Like it could be anything. It could be.
I've stepped foot in a gym before, Chris. Thanks.
Yeah, but you don't have a favorite, obviously. Like,
Yo, what? There's no need.
Hey, I have an answer ready to go.
all right, let's hear it.
All right, I'm going with leg press.
Leg press. All right. Just so you know, that's like a 10 for me, but okay.
So I'm gonna say, is this? So it's my favorite. I'm gonna say pull-ups.
See, that's the one I was going to say too. But speaking of golf, I have golfer's elbow terribly, right? So pull-ups in the gym are not good right now. So I'm going to say goblet squats.
Ooh. I like a good goblet. Apparently, Chris doesn't like leg day, but I love a good goblet.
I love leg day.
You just
But
don't
I'm a
like leg
squats and
press?
deadlifts guy. I like compound movements. All right, I need one more because that really threw me off. I don't know if that was the best category to choose. Shoot, man. Let's go Taco Bell menu items.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. I haven't been to a Taco Bell in so long, but in college, man, there was a menu item that I absolutely.
I'm gonna go with the beefy 5-layer burrito.
Interesting. All right.
I think I'm going to go with a Doritos Locos taco.
I'm going to go with a beefy crunch burrito. I don't know if they do that anymore, but
I think that's like a featured item. Like they'll bring it back every once in a while.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just assume that's close. That's similar to like a beefy chalupa kind of.
Well, it's a burrito, not a chalupa.
It's like the burrito with like
the
beef
strips
and
in it.
Fritos in it.
And the strips
Fritos
in
are
it. Yeah, they still
inside.
got that. They still got that.
Oh, for real,
That's
okay.
got to be like a 25, honestly.
Chris, I'm going to think that's like the chalupa. No,
Okay.
it's a burrito.
All right. Let me just talk you through this. So
Yeah, talk
Disney
me through it.
movies put me in the 20 to 30 range. I had a 20,
Okay.
a 25, and a 30.
Okay.
Current wide receivers, I should know exactly what their rankings are, but I don't. But I had 22 through 26. So I had a 22, a 24, and a 26. Alcoholic drinks, 20. I put 27 for the Frosty beer and 23 for the whiskey Coke.
What'd you put for, what was next?
The
homemade
margarita. I said that was like a 26. And then the workouts, I had 10 for whatever Dave said. That was bad. And then 20 and 24 for goblet squats and whatever the other one is. And then I had 21, 22, and 25 for the final one. So I really think it's going to be between 20 and 24. And I wrote it down.
Give yourself the drum roll.
I wrote it down 2 times, so I think I gotta say it. I don't know, man.
Where's
22.
No.
We were looking
Wrong.
for 30.
Wrong.
We were looking for 30.
That's
I mean,
good though.
You were
That was impressive.
your thought process, you were like at the beginning you were so there. I think the variance in some of the questions that you asked, we made it tough.
Those
on
were
you.
some tough questions too, though.
Man,
I will say you put a much stronger performance in than Dave's 1 through 40 last week, Chris.
I think I was off on the wide receivers. Like, what's Terry McLaurin
I think
right now?
I was off like 12 and he was off 8. It's not
but
much strong.
His thought process is so much better than yours.
I mean,
You've
I had a grouping. I really had a grouping right here. In
What?
The 22 to 23.
Dave, you are the self-proclaimed weakest at this game. You can't get defensive now.
No, I am the self-proclaimed weakest, but I didn't think my thought process was the same.
No.
I thought he was gonna. I thought when
Dang.
because he put. Did you put anything at 30? Did you put Incredibles at 30?
Incredibles was right on 30. Exactly on
That's
30.
that what I was like. This dude is a freaking Einstein. I was like,
That
how
was a
is
great
this?
answer. And then what did I have? I had 27 for
Toy Story 2.
no.
Oh,
I
the
had
Frosty
25. Yeah, 27 for the Frosty beer. Dang, guys, I'm sorry. I tried.
I feel like you had our receivers a little low.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I should have known that for sure.
Because it's like I didn't want to say like Justin Jefferson because I feel like
Yeah.
he's
No, too high.
like I feel like who else do we want to throw? Like Devontae Adams. I know he doesn't have he's not having the season like that, but
Jamar Chase.
he would be way up there. You probably could throw.
that would have been like a 34 and a 33.
Yeah. So
But if
And
maybe,
then
Justin
maybe like a
Jefferson.
maybe like a
34.
Keenan Allen would have been a good answer.
I literally said
I thought about Keenan
I
Allen.
really thought of Keenan Allen, but I was like, dude, as like does Chris appreciate the route technician that Keenan Allen is? Because that's what he is.
Well, see, and my thought process is I would have put Keenan Allen at like that 31 to 33.
I think the lifting
34.
question was bad because that really is so preference based, and like pull-ups. I just
love a
don't
good
love
pull-up.
pull-ups.
I love
I'd
a
rather
good
I'd go
pull-up.
lat pull downs over pull-ups all day long.
There's something about doing a pull-up, especially if there's some women ladies in the gym.
Yeah, no, it does look sick to just be ripping pull-ups.
Man,
So
I
when-
What?
Nick, I think you have such an inspiring story.
Oh, thank you.
Real quick, just to cap it off, for anybody out there who's, not on the radar of getting a scholarship and doesn't know if football is going to be the thing for them, what is the word of advice? I mean, my guess would be it's just don't ever give up on your dreams, but like, what's the word of advice you have for them to just like keep at it and it will pay off eventually? You'll get there. Keep working.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the part that I had to come to terms with is that there is no time frame for hard work, right? They say like hard work pays off. You can't decide when it's going to pay off, right? Like you just got to do it, right? And
Trust
just
the process.
fall in love with the part that you fall in love with the journey and not the end point, right? Like
Love that.
I remember the summers I'm at Marquette High School, I'm running the hill over there next to the bleachers with a 25-pound weight vest on. And my mom is like, why? It's 98 degrees outside. If you pass out, nobody's coming to get you. And I'm like, if I pass out doing this, then I did it. I passed out doing exactly what I wanted to do. Right. So it was just so important to me to just kind of like focus on the journey and not really end point. I didn't go there with any other goal than I want to get on the field. Right. And then after my season, I ended up getting put on scholarship. All these other things came after I just put the work in. Right. And I think you have to really take a self-assessment, right? Because a lot of us think we're working hard and then there's somebody next to you who's doing double what you are.
Yeah.
Or for me, it was.
How bad do you really want it?
Yeah. For me, going into my freshman year of college, I was like, Nick, you got to get in shape. I was a strong kid. I was a good athlete in high school, but I was like, you got to get in shape. Okay. Like you can't go to college and can't get through the sprint workout. Right. Like, so what did I do? I went and did my own sprints. I put a timer up. I had a 15-second down and back of the football field, 30-second break. I went and Googled what college workouts were. I was like, I want to make sure they can't throw anything at me that I haven't done to myself. You know what I mean? Like, I was going to put myself through everything, and I was going to make sure that I conquered my weaknesses. I was really strong, was not a well-conditioned athlete. But when I got to college, I was a well-conditioned athlete. So when we got to sprints and conditioning and suicides, I was like, I want the coaches to see me at the front of the sprint, right? Yep. So they can never say Nick was dogging it out or he's out of shape. Like I was going to make sure this is where I can show up. I may not show up in the stat book, but I remember a time a teammate came to me and he was like, dude, why were you destroying people on the suicides? And I was like, because this is my game day. You know what I mean? Like, this is where I prove myself. This is where I earn my spot. So my teammates can look at me and be like, he's not just walking around with a backpack on. Like, I put the work in. So when they call my name, I'll be prepared. But until then, I'm just going to work. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
That's a beautiful way to finish it. So as always, thank you for tuning in. That's Nightly Nonsense.
Awesome.
See ya.
All right.